Hi. Okay, so this is a bit of a different video blog. I've been travelling now for 3 months, and at the moment I am in San Sebastian, Spain, and that's not really overly relevant to this blog, but that's where I am. I'm in the hostel at the moment. It is 5 to 9 at night, and I'm just having a quiet night in the hostel because I am trying to save some money, and I'm feeling kind of tired, and I went out last night, and yes, I'm having a bit of a quiet night. But I thought that in this video, I would explain why I'm travelling around the world and why I quit my job, gave up my life to travel around the world, because that's something that I get almost every day when I meet new people. Because every time you meet new people, you always have the same discussions. Where are you from? How long are you travelling for? Where have you been? Where are you going next, and all that type of thing. And I found that a lot of people, there's so many different reasons why people are travelling. I find that American people travel for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and they go to a small amount of countries very, very quickly. And there's a lot of Australians who, it varies. Most Aussies are like 8 weeks, 3 months, and a few are like me and they're travelling longer term. But I find that when I say to people I'm actually travelling around the world, they're like, what? Whoa, where are you going? What are you doing? How did you do that? How is that? Do you have a job? Are you working? And I say, like, no, I don't have any money coming in at the moment. It's all outgoing. And they get really interested. So that's why I thought I'd make a video of it. So, okay, so here we go. I'll try not to do it as a script that I have come to kind of do when I meet new people. Okay, so at the moment, today's date is, I don't know, something of August, or around the start of August, I'm not really sure. Start of August 2014. So last year, in around about October of last year, I was starting to think about what I wanted to do next. I was employed, I work in marketing, and I do web design, and I work in digital media, and I was employed in a marketing position with a company for about 3.5 years, and the company, the industry was extremely volatile, so a lot of people were being made redundant, and the company culture was changing, and I was starting to get a bit restless, and I wasn't really sure if I wanted to stay there or what was going on, and that type of thing. But I had just bought a house, so I bought a house in May last year. Bought my first house, was really excited, thought at the time of buying my house, oh, this will settle my travel bug, like I won't want to travel so much, I've got this house now, I want to work on the house, make it look beautiful, spend time at home, it'll be nice. And my travel agent Siobhan, hi Siobhan, my travel agent Siobhan was like, oh, okay, good luck with that, okay. Sure, work on your house. She knew. Of course she knew. It wasn't going to dampen my travel bug. No, it wasn't going to kill it off. No way. It actually kind of worked in the opposite, but I'll get to that. So anyway, yeah, I bought this house in May, and it was about October, and I was just starting to feel restless. And I'd been in my job 3.5 years, not really quite sure what I wanted to do, if I wanted to stay there, but yeah, but I had this house there, and it was a good job, and yeah. But anyway, I'd find that at like lunch times and on the weekends and things like that, I'd look at those news articles of people who had quit their jobs and travelled around the world. And you know the headlines, like you see them all the time, where I resigned from my life and travelled the world for a year. I would read those all the time and think, that's crazy, like nobody actually does that. That's just some news story that some random's picked up, and it's been repeated over and over across the different platforms, and nobody actually does it. But I just kept looking at them. I kept looking, and it was an idea that just would not leave my mind. It was every single day, every minute of every day, for like from October into November, so just every day for weeks and weeks. It was just in my mind, and it started to shift to become, sorry, it's 9 o'clock, so that was going off. So it it started to become to the point where I was like, well, hypothetically, if I was to, like hypothetically, not really, but what would it take for me to do that? And so I started kind of thinking about it, and I just bought my house, and I was like, well, I can rent my house out. Someone else can pay my mortgage. I can rent my house out. I could stop like paying all my bills, like Foxtel, like I could just stop. So the more I thought about it, the more it was like, actually, this could kind of work. To the point where I actually mentioned it to a couple of my friends, and I mentioned it to my travel agent and friend Siobhan, who was like, yeah, that would be amazing. So I was kind of thinking about it more towards the end of this year. I was like, okay, I just bought this house, like it's maybe towards the end of the year. And it literally got to a point in November when I was just thinking about it constantly, and it would not leave my mind. And so I was kind of asking for a sign, and I was waiting for a sign going, I'm at this crossroads, what do I do? Is this crazy? Is this crazy thinking? Or is this what I'm supposed to do? And then literally at the end of that week, I was like waiting for a sign. At the end of that week, I was made redundant from my job, and I received a payout because I've been there for almost 4 years. And I was like, okay, that's it. That's it. That's the sign. I'm going. That's it. So I was made redundant on the Friday. I was sad and like upset that I didn't have a job. But by the Monday, I was like, okay, I'm going overseas. As soon as I was made redundant, same day, I SMS'd my travel agent and said, right, we're moving it up. I'm going around the world now. We need to move to the start of the year. So that's what I did. So I was able to get some contract work, which was really good as in digital media as a contract position. And I said to them, look, I'm going overseas. I'm not quite sure when because I didn't have a date yet. So I can't be permanent. And luckily for me, the people I worked for went, yeah, okay, that's fine. We will keep you until you leave. So that was fantastic. So I was able to kind of fall into a position, and then I left on the 2nd of May. I flew out. So in the meantime, I rented out my house, and this wasn't easy at all either. Like this, I make it sound like, oh yeah, it just kind of happened. It wasn't. It was so much hard work. So much hard work turning everything off, saving the money, finding a tenant. I had a nightmare I have a rental agency looking after my house. I had to change agencies because the first one were just a living nightmare. And even with that, I was at the point where I needed to have my house rented out so that I could use the mortgage money to be my additional savings to get me around the world. Otherwise, I wasn't going to have enough money. And that was in February, and I was planning on leaving in May. And it was a Wednesday night, and I didn't have a tenant. I had to change agents. I had so many open inspections. It was so stressful, and it got to the point where I was like, oh my God, I've made a massive mistake. And I was sitting on my bed at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday night thinking, I didn't think this was, I thought this was what I was supposed to be doing, but I think, oh my God, have I made the biggest mistake? I can't rent this house out. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh my God, if I don't get this house rented by the weekend, I'm not going to be able to afford to go. Like, it was awful. So I went to sleep that night, total nervous breakdown, thinking, oh my God, is this a mistake? Literally 8 a.m. the next morning, the new agent called me and said, we have a tenant, they want to rent your house fully furnished. And, oh my God, okay, like, it's just another sign. It was another sign that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is my life, and this is what I'm supposed to do. So that's what I did. So I was able to move my main stuff into my parents' house and live sometimes at their house, sometimes at my friend Lauren's place, and use my friend's Wi-Fi, Chris and Ali, Lauren, their Wi-Fi, because I'm a web designer and I need Wi-Fi, so I was able to just kind of freeload off of my friends and family for a couple of months, which is fantastic, and that's what I'm going to have to do when I get home, because I can't get back into my house until February. So that's kind of how it got happening. In regard to planning it, I had no idea either. Most people say to me, how do you even plan to go around the world? Like, where do you even start? So I am incredibly lucky that I have an amazing travel agent, Siobhan from Cruiseabout, which is a company of Flight Centre. Siobhan at Cruiseabout Mitcham in Adelaide. She is fantastic. So I've known Siobhan now for about, 5 years, I think. And I met her years ago when I first planned an original trip to the US. And she was just fantastic and helped us out so much with that, that I was able to stick with her, and she's become a good friend of mine from being my travel agent. So I went to her and I said, okay, I'm going to travel around the world. I want to go for about a year. I don't know what I'm doing. So she basically said to me, think big and we will scale it back. So I went home, got a map of the world and went, right, where do I want to go? What are all of the countries that I want to do? And so that's what I did. So that's why I did like Southeast Asia. Love Southeast Asia. It's cheap, it's easy, it's beautiful, the people are lovely, love it. So I did that, and then I was like, yes, I want to come back to Europe. I've been to Europe 2 years ago, did it on a Top Deck tour. I want to do it this time more. Like I liked it last time. I'm excited to go back to some of the places that I'd already been, because I've never done that before. I always travel to new locations, so this is the first time I've come back to somewhere that I have been. Having said that, there are still a couple of places that I hadn't been, because I hadn't been to Greece and I hadn't been to Spain, and now I'm in Spain and I absolutely love it and I would 100% come back. And then I was like, I want to go to the UK if I can. I didn't go to Ireland. I went to Scotland. I went to London. I haven't been to Ireland, so that's why I'm going to go there. And then I was like, okay, and I love the United States. And I'd like to get into Canada and kind of do the top, because I did Kentucky like 5 years ago, which was the original trip that I booked with Shimon. And that was kind of the southern part. So this time I want to kind of, I think, do the northern part. Having said that, I've still got nothing for the States booked, so I need to get to that later. When I get there, I need to work out where I'm going to go. So so that's it. So that's my first thing, is to say, get yourself a good travel agent. And when you get one, do not let them go. Follow them. If they move offices, if they move companies, if they move interstate, follow them. Good travel agents are so hard to find, and yeah, when you get a good one, hold on to them with everything you have. So yeah, Siobhan is amazing, and I couldn't do it without her, especially because I'm doing this by myself. And when you travel with someone else, or you go with a partner, or you go with a friend, it's a second memory, and I don't have that. Like, it was before I left, I had so much pressure on me, just working and getting the house organised and getting the money organised and trying to think, what am I packing, what am I doing, where am I going? All of these extra travel things, having Siobhan there as my travel agent, knowing what I'm doing, knowing where I am, being that second memory for visas, flights, nights, trips, deposits, money, whatever, she's there, and she's still there at the moment. So I email her, and I'm still in contact with her, or like all the time, with things that I want to change. She gives me advice. She helps me. So so that's what I did. And then from figuring out the locations that I wanted to go to, we worked out if I was going to do a tour or if I was better off just doing it by myself and if it was easier. Hence why I did a G Adventures tour through Southeast Asia. Fantastic, loved it. Do G Adventures, brilliant. And then I said for Europe, I was like, I think most people just kind of take the train or something. And Siobhan just slid a Bus About brochure across the counter to me and was like, Bus About, that's for you. And I was like, oh, really? I don't really know what Bus About is. She's like, no, Bus About. And she's completely correct. So Bus About bracelet, Bus About. Bus About is fantastic. Through Europe, I ended up doing Bus About through Greek islands as well. That was really good, very different trip, but still both of them are fantastic. But yeah, Bus About through Europe has made it so easy and so much fun. it's just, yeah, it's a breeze. It's an absolute breeze. So I thoroughly recommend Bus About. And then again, I'm doing a Shamrock tour, Shamrocker, I think, which is a Bus About company, sister company, through Ireland. I'm going through Northern Ireland when I get there in a couple of weeks. And I'd done a haggis tour 2 years ago when I was in Scotland, and it was fantastic. So they're just 5-day tours, but it gets me to places that I wouldn't otherwise be in, and it just makes it easy. So that's really good. And then other sections like Hong Kong I just did by myself. Paris I'm just going to do by myself. I'm taking myself over to London, so I'll just do that. And then when I get to the US, I am doing an Intrepid tour up into Canada, like on the Montreal, Quebec side. And then I'm just by myself throughout the rest of the US for the remaining 2 and a bit months. And I have nothing booked, so that's what I need to. I will work with Shimon, and I will say, right, I think I need a flight to go here, and we'll work it out. So yeah, so that's my kind of first piece of advice is travel agent, definitely, if you can get one. What else would I say? The other thing is money. Now my budget is incredibly tight. It is so tight. So I booked a round the world ticket through Emirates. Again, working with my travel agent, she looked into that, and it was so much cheaper to do around the world. And it also means that it's pushing me around the world, because I do absolutely get to a city and go, oh my God, I love it here, I think I'm going to stay. And that's what Siobhan said to me. She's like, no, we need to push you around the world so that you're required to be in a specific location, like be at an airport to fly out on a specific date. However you get there, Bus About, that's up to you. And that works really well for me to have these key dates that are around the world that I must be there. So yeah, so the round the world ticket worked out to be really cheap. I think it was like six or seven international flights for about 3,000 Australian dollars, which it's crazy cheap. It was so good. I booked all of my tours and things like that. When you do a few tours that you book together, like Bus About Greek Islands, Europe, and Ireland, that's 3, so you get a discount by grouping your tours together. I also book as early as I can to try and get an early bird discount. This case wasn't quite so early because it was kind of booking in November, December, January, leaving in May. I think I booked it was after Christmas. I must have booked maybe in February, because there was an expo. So there was a travel expo. Book at travel expos. It's like travel insurance is you get 10% off of travel insurance at travel expos. There are deals. There are all kinds of different flight deals, things like that at the expos. So I took advantage of all of these things that you can save money on. Now, having said that, my budget is still incredibly tight. So in Europe, I basically have a $50 a day Australian budget, including accommodation. Yeah, it's that tight. Having said that, some of my accommodation on the tours was already booked. So in Asia, I did G Adventures tour. Oh, there's an ant on my laptop. Oh, there's an ant on my finger. The G Adventures tour included the accommodation, so that $50 a day was able to be a bit less, and Asia's so cheap, so I was able to pick up some money there. However, I did overspend in Greece, because Greece is expensive if you go out drinking. The cocktails are more. So at the moment for Europe, that I've been for 3 months, my budget is €35 a day, including accommodation. Yeah, it's that tight. And here at the moment in San Sebastian, that's really tight because the accommodation here is €30 a night. So last night I went out and had Pintros and went drinking with some of the Bus About people. Totally blew budget. Went like €20 over budget. But that is my one night of drinking. So tonight I just went to the supermarket today. I did have some Pintros for lunch. Pintros sangria. Oh, what are you going to do at San Sebastian? But tonight I was feeling kind of tired and exhausted. So I I've just eaten pasta. I just got some packet pasta, packet pesto, boiled the pasta, had the pesto, done. That was dinner, and that cost me €2. And I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow night because this is an expensive place. Whereas at Plus Camping in Rome, it's like €12 a night. so you've got that little bit more money to spend. So whilst I don't stick to that budget every day because sometimes I just can't, sometimes you have to. There's no choice. This room is really dark. Hang on 2 seconds. I'm just going to turn the light on. Okay. Sorry, that's better. So yeah, so my budget is tight, and I'm backpacking. Like the hostel that I'm in at the moment, whilst it's €30 a night, I think because it's San Sebastian, and San Sebastian is expensive. It's okay. It's not amazing. I've had 2 ice cold showers, 2 today and last night. Oh my god, like ice cold. I went swimming today at San Sebastian Beach. The water at the beach was nowhere near as cold as the shower water, like ice. My drinks are not that cold. So some hostels, and yet the one that I was just at, U Hostel in Madrid, beautiful. It was so different. It was about 20, maybe, I think I paid maybe €22 a night or something for a 6-bed. It was a beautiful hostel. I don't think I've probably stayed in a better one. It was pristine. So yeah, so they kind of move all over, but that's backpacking and that's traveling. So yeah, that's that. So it's the money and the things like that. Yeah, I just try and save as much as I can. I'm always thinking that €35 a day budget. So like today, I just went late on San Sebastian Beach, walked around. Yes, I got some Pinterest for lunch. So I have gone slightly over again today, but the $2 pasta for dinner is fine because yeah, that's just how it is. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing and where I am. If you have any questions, I don't know if that really explains it completely. I've certainly had quite a few people email me or Facebook me and say, how are you doing? I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? Is that how you did it? And that type of thing. I'm happy to answer people. I'm happy to give you like some tips on what I did, or let you know how I did it, so you can think about how you want to do it. So yeah, if you have questions, ask me, please. Love to. I'm sitting in a hostel in a whole 4-bedroom room. Well, that's the other thing. This 4-bedroom hostel room at the moment is empty, except for me. So it looks like hopefully I might get the whole thing to myself tonight. So €30 and I have the entire room to myself. So that's, yeah. So I'm sitting in a hostel room at the moment, and I will be for the next 5 and a bit months that I've still got to go. So yeah, if you want to ask any questions, ask me, please, email me. Love to hear it. So yeah, anyway, that's it. That's the rundown. Yeah, if I think of anything else, I'll put it up. Okay, bye.